out on the vast, unpredictable ocean, a quiet revolution is happening. And no, we're not just talking about bigger ships or faster routes. We're talking about Maersk, a shipping giant that's over a century old, basically tearing up its own playbook. Why? To become something totally new, a digital fortress on the high seas. So let's dive in and unpack how they're pulling this off.
You know, this one question really gets to the heart of this entire shift. For more than 100 years, shipping was all about steel, storms, and, well, physical cargo. Pretty straightforward. But what if the whole game has changed? What if it's not about the boxes anymore, but all about the data?
And that's because the old way of doing things, it's just broken. It's a real crisis for the whole industry. See, traditional ocean freight has become this brutal race-to-the-bottom kind of business. And Maersk has basically decided, nope, we're not playing that game anymore.
And this breaks it down perfectly. You've got these two worlds Maersk is navigating between. On one side, there's the old way. Unpredictable, barely any profit, and you're totally at the mercy of these crazy economic cycles. But on the other side, that's the vision. A stable, high-margin tech platform that doesn't just play in the supply chain. It actually controls it.
So their escape plan is the crucial piece here. Maersk is deliberately leaving behind its old identity as just an ocean carrier. The new mission? It's not just about getting a container from A to B. It's about managing the whole journey, all the data, the entire logistics puzzle, basically transforming into the FedEx of the seas.
Okay, so how do you actually do that? How do you take a volatile, heavy machinery business and flip it into a predictable, super profitable data service? Well, you build a fortress, a digital one. And their strategy is really a brilliant three-step plan. First up, they control the physical gateways. We're talking the ports, using their very own software. Second, they build a massive cloud platform that acts like the digital brain for their customers' supply chains. And third, they tie all their physical assets and software together to create this walled garden. Once a customer is in, it's really, really hard for them to leave. But hey, just having walls isn't enough for a fortress, right? You need some serious weapons to defend it, especially when your biggest enemy is volatility. For Maersk, those weapons are forged from data and artificial intelligence. For decades, shipping was a total black box. Your container was, well, somewhere out on the ocean, and that's pretty much all you knew. Maersk is using real-time tracking and some seriously advanced machine learning to just shatter that box. They can now predict port congestion months in advance. And that kind of foresight, it isn't a freebie. It's a premium, high-margin data service they can sell. And this is where their tech advantage gets really cool. They use something called digital twin technology. Just imagine a perfect virtual copy of the entire global supply chain. Maersk can then throw all kinds of simulated problems at it, a storm, a port shutdown, you name it, and see what happens. This lets them adjust things in the real world long before the actual problem ever hits. It's all about being predictive, not reactive. Which brings us to the fundamental truth behind this whole thing. In this new global economy Maersk is building, the most valuable thing on their ships is no longer the stuff inside the containers. It's the constant stream of data flowing from them. Of course, a radical move like this doesn't go unanswered. Maersk isn't just fighting its old shipping rivals anymore. Now they're in a high-stakes war with a totally new kind of enemy. These super agile tech startups coming out of places like Silicon Valley. So this lays out the battle plans. On one side, you have the Disruptors. They're trying to win with pure software, nimble, no heavy assets. But Maersk's trump card is that they can combine their massive physical infrastructure, we're talking fleets of brand new green methanol vessels, with all these sophisticated digital layers. They own the ships and the code that runs them. That's a huge advantage.
So what's the end game here? Where is all this heading? Well, the ultimate vision is to take the chaotic, messy world of global trade and turn it into something that feels seamless, simple, almost like a public utility. The goal is to build a real one-click experience. Imagine a platform where your shipment automatically comes with financing and insurance and customs clearance just happens in the background. It's about creating a totally frictionless system that handles every single part of global trade for you. But this whole multi-billion-dollar bet really comes down to one critical question. With all this ambition, Maersk is still a legacy industrial giant at its core. Can a company like that really develop and keep the speed and innovation of a modern software company? That's the biggest challenge they face for sure.
And that leads us to our final thought.
The outcome of Maersk's gamble is going to decide the future of global trade. Is the supply chain going to stay this messy, fragmented network with thousands of different companies? Or are we watching it evolve right now into a single, consolidated digital utility controlled by the one company that dared to become the architect of the seas?